Before we dive into these specific episodes, I want to share my overall thoughts about the season. Season 2 was not as good. You know, I wouldn't lie to you, it wasn't. And that is saying something because season 1 was...
Be nice. I'm finding it.
Well, you saw it. What I will say is the music budget got bigger and the acting wasn't as bad as last season. Don't get me wrong, acting classes are still needed, very much so, but it was easier to keep track of everybody's names this time around, which was good. I will say, I'm happy Kylie, Danny, and Dylan got to play bigger roles this season. They're definitely 3 of the stronger supporting actors in this cast. Speaking of Dylan and Kylie, a star athlete who is constantly put second to another player and his womanizing dad rides him way too hard because he didn't get to achieve his personal athletic dreams. And a nerdy girl who is uber independent because of familial circumstances and works instead of having a social life and is also super attached to her one close male childhood friend. Welcome back, Nathan and Haley. All right, let's just jump right in. I'm going to share my random thoughts on each episode and then I'll focus on the love triangle after. So if that's all you're here for, you hate fun, but feel free to jump to the second to last chapter down here. Okay. Episode 1, Haley's silk press was so cute. That bob suited her face shape so nicely. I cannot believe they kept this face card away from us for the majority of the season, but we were stuck with Will. I went to check if she was filming something else at the same time and just had to be written out this season, but I couldn't find anything, so she was just wasted. Okay. Grace and Jackie have a conversation in this episode that basically sums up Jackie's motivations for the rest of the season. When Grace asks Jackie if she wants to be with Cole, she says it doesn't matter what she wants. What's important is making things right with everyone. And then she proceeds to talk about getting her driver's license so she can start helping out around the house more. I liked that they gave this to us super early. It feels like a natural progression of her character, but spelling it out made spotting some of her behavior, especially around the love triangle, impossible to misinterpret, which is great for shows that you don't want to pay too much attention to. Will somehow got more annoying in this season than last. Awesome. Also, I feel like the actors weren't given the later scripts early enough because Skylar's way too trusting around Zach given the history we learn about them later. It makes zero sense how he acts in this episode and honestly all episodes prior to the dance, but I'll talk about that more later. This is going to be maybe an unpopular opinion, but why was Kylie's writing so bad in this episode? Whoever was holding the pen for this one needs to put it down going forward.
Oh, put it down!
Everything she said to Dylan sounded like the kind of dumb and unrealistic things Skylar would have said last season, except with the added annoying twist of, I'm so nerdy and unpopular. A boy like you could never take me seriously, which just doesn't feel consistent with the confident, at least on the surface, confident version of Kylie we were introduced to in season 1. Also, Will being a miserable, whiny loser again. He really stole all of Alex's nachos this season. Danny tells Will to go easy on their dad, which is just not strong enough in my opinion, because if my brother was treating my dad like that, I would have let him have it. I don't care. And I'm right that he wasn't clear enough because Will just literally got worse throughout the season. So obviously that advice didn't even penetrate. Someone I did like more this season was Erin, though. I loved her character development in this season, and it's a function of her becoming more secure in herself. I'm also happy it seems like the actress took some acting classes, no shade. We're not quite there yet, but I am liking the improvements. Good job. Okay, and I said I would circle back to this, but Skylar says to Nathan about Zach, I think someone's got a little crush on you. So you're telling me if you dated someone last year and now you're hanging out with him and your new boyfriend all the time and you haven't told your new boyfriend about your history, you would be making little jokes about your ex having a crush on your new boyfriend. especially when the ex turned out to be a grade A stalker. Did the story editor go on vacation halfway through the season? I don't understand how something so illogical and nonsensical could have been overlooked, but I digress. My only note on this one was that Paige has become the new Erin, and by that I mean cartoonishly evil. Hate her. Okay, I don't know if you saw this, but Mr. Walter grabs his chest after eating the heavy anniversary meal at dinner with his wife, which I feel like may have been foreshadowing the finale. I think he went into cardiac arrest from all of the financial stress on him, and I just want to say on record, I blame Will. Entirely. Okay, now let's get into the dance. I really don't think fall formal had to be over just because two people got into a fight that was contained in under a minute. That chaperone just wanted to go home for real, because why are you punishing the entire school for two kids' behavior? I would have been so pissed off if I had been there, let alone if I were Jackie or Grace, who put everything together. There would have been a second fight if that happened to me. Speaking of fights, Erin, I was not on your side on this little tiff you had with Danny. She gets upset after the fight because Danny left her on the dance floor to rescue his brother. Well, yes, he was in a fight and Erin was fine. What was he supposed to do? Stand next to her while his twin gets pummeled? This was such a stupid argument and seems like it was put in there just to give them conflict, and that just wasn't necessary. She says, I never felt like I came second when I was with you, which is a totally valid thing to worry about, but this being a trigger was so stupid. Sorry. Stepping away from her in a literal crisis does not mean he doesn't value her, especially when he's been showing her throughout the season so far just how much he does. Waste of my screen time. Anyway, right after this, mid-makeout, Cole called Ruby New York, and I was gagged. Entirely. And I would have felt bad for almost any other girl in that position, but she has consistently been so terrible to Jackie, so that felt good. Paige humiliation ritual next. Okay, we learn a bit more about Cole's accident in the season that caused him to stop playing football, and I don't know if anyone else peeped this, but when he was talking to Dylan, he said, it's not your fault I had that stupid accident. And Dylan gets this weird contemplative look on his face that, yes, could be just sadness for Cole, but I don't know, it could be guilt. Did any of you guys pick up on that look, or am I delusional? Speaking of Dylan, they really dialed up Kylie's self-deprecation in the season when she speaks to him, and I hope they shut that down for season 3 because it was grating to hear, and I loved her so much in season 1, so I need them to stop that. Also, when Nathan's talking about Zach and their new relationship, he says, Zach knows what he wants, and what he wants is me. And while this pairing is messed up for a million reasons, I do feel like that was a great line for us to get into Nathan's head while he's acting seemingly so out of character. I remember one of the reasons I wasn't super sold on Nathan and Skylar's relationship last season, apart from the fact that they have zero chemistry, was I'm not usually a fan of when one character seems so much more invested in the other. Skylar was so distant and kept rejecting Nathan, and I feel like now that we know more of his backstory, it probably was just he was afraid of having a repeat of what happened with Zach, but because he literally and unrealistically never said anything to Nathan about that history, how could Nathan possibly know that it wasn't about him? He couldn't have. We didn't know. Anyway, definitely not defending or condoning the cheating and the obnoxious PDA, but I did think it was a believable progression for these characters, though it could have been executed much, much better in the first half of the season. Oh, and also, I'm not even a fan of Jackie and Alex, but I thought it was so sweet how when Jackie came home with Murphy, Alex's missing horse after the barn fire, he was so happy he ran and hugged her first before even acknowledging Murphy. This is so random, but it reminded me of those clips where a new mom gave birth and everybody is running to the baby, but only the grandma thinks to hug her daughter. Okay, big episode jump because I didn't have random thoughts for the next few episodes. It was just so sad that Cole was so excited to share his SAT scores with Jackie, but when he went to tell her, he found her kissing his brother. Oh my gosh. Time to talk about the finale. Haley and her bust-down middle-part silk press bob came back, and all I kept thinking was, I don't know how she puts up with whiny Will. No wonder she jumped at the chance to spend a semester away from him. I would too, girl. Also, I was kind of surprised they didn't give Jackie any anxiety surrounding driving, considering that's how her entire family died. I don't know, it just seemed like a weird oversight. Maybe when she really starts driving next season, that will come up. She might have a minor accident, something like that, but weird that it didn't come up now. Also, when Jackie won the award, I felt like a proud mommy. She's so baby to me. I don't know how to explain it. Okay, anyway, right after that, Alex sees Kylie and Dylan's first kiss, along with the rest of Silver Falls. I would have run into the woods out of embarrassment, personally, but it was super cute. I only mentioned that to say that the writers clearly haven't abandoned Alex and Kylie as a potential endgame, and it does seem like her current relationship with Dylan is just a plot device to eventually get her with Alex, like her character is in the books. Sad. Aaron mentions making Jackie VP next semester, which makes it sound like next season will be their spring semester. It makes sense considering a good number of characters, including the male lead, are seniors, so they won't want to send them off just yet. I'm not too sure how they're going to handle Cole going away for college if they go beyond season 3, though. Speaking of, it looked like they were setting Haley and Will up to leave Silver Falls because this town is too small for your big ideas.
Thank God.
But then Mr. Walter's emergency seems to be setting Will up to take an even bigger role in the family dynamic next season. I'm not even kidding. If Mr. Walter dies, I will not watch season 3. I can't. Even if Jackie and Cole end up together, I'm just going to have to find out from you guys. It should have been Will. Free Haley, please. I'm joking. Mostly.
I was playing.
But also, we never found out about the person who texted her at the end of last season, which is annoying. So maybe if the writers rewatch their show and remember that cliffhanger, then they can make something up for next season. Okay. First of all, if you've made it this far, thank you. Okay, let's get into it. When Alex told Jackie he loved her last year at the wedding, he was drunk, she didn't say it back, fine. It was early. I can see why he'd get past that. Then Alex told her again, this season. She panicked and then she kissed him. The kiss of romantic death, in my humble opinion. There's no hope for Jackie and Alex because in the finale, not only does Jackie tell Cole she loves him back right away, she also says, I can't be with someone who makes me feel the way that you make me feel. Crazy. What an absolutely bonkers thing to say. Alexander, please excuse yourself from this equation. But also, please don't go bothering Kylie because you treated her like gum under your shoe for the last 2 seasons. Don't act brand new the moment you see someone appreciating and valuing her. Okay. I think Jackie and Cole's arcs this season complemented each other very well. Jackie's whole thing this whole season was doing the right thing for other people, Alex especially, and not what she wants just because she wants it. So she's kind of heads down, trying to serve everyone at school and at home and make everyone's lives better at the cost of her own emotional well-being. A great example of this is selling the dresses because it's the right thing to do when no one would have faulted her for wanting to keep them. Cole, on the other hand, spends a good chunk of the season trying to help her without her having to ask. She wants them to be friends, so he just commits to being a good friend to her, having her back, and getting the people around him to support her whenever he can. I know a lot of people have been complaining about their lack of screen time, and I get the disappointment, trust me. But I think they were able to accomplish so much and tell us so much with so little screen time, and it made every one of their interactions feel even more valuable, at least to me. All in all, I'd say it was still a good season for Jackie and Cole. I think they needed this time apart for Jackie to realize that she can't resist Cole, and he needed this time apart from her to mature, because he was pretty terrible in season 1. The responsibilities he's taken on and his renewed interest in his future show that by season 3, he should be in the right place to be a good boyfriend to Jackie, and I'm excited to see how that plays out. Again, only if Mr. Walter is alive. If he isn't, thank you for watching this video. Please let me know what you thought about this season in the comments. If you're watching The Summer I Turned Pretty this summer, like everybody else, you should check this video out. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Bye for now.